Hello, friends. It's the Carnivore Rabbi. A rabbi is a teacher and source of inspiration. That's what this channel provides for carnivores of all faiths. Welcome. Are there any downsides to the carnivore diet? I say absolutely not. Now you might be thinking, Rabbi, what about limited food options? What about social gatherings? What about expenses? This stuff can be expensive. Meat ain't cheap. But think about this. A limitation is not necessarily a downside. They are just part of any choice we make in life. 2 nights ago, I conducted a wedding, beautiful wedding. 2 people chose one another. They could have married billions of other people. There are 8 billion people on the planet. But they chose each other. Are there limitations to that? Of course. There are trade-offs. They can't marry this other person. They have legal commitments to each other. But these are all limitations. You could even call them costs. But they are not a downside. A downside is a unique negative consequence connected to a particular decision. For example, if you lie to someone, there is a unique downside. They may not trust you anymore. They may suffer as a result of your lie. If you steal something, there is a downside. You may harbor guilt. You may get caught. There are certainly downsides to a vegan diet. You'll have lots of gas. Your stomach will hurt. You'll miss out on vital nutrients. We know there are downsides to the standard American diet. Obesity, skin problems, insulin resistance. So there are downsides to diets. So then, what are the downsides to the carnivore diet? Now, I said earlier that there aren't any, but I was a little tongue-in-cheek. That may be a little too simplistic. Here's why. There is no predefined carnivore diet. Some people do the lion diet. That's ruminant meat, salt, and water. Some people don't use salt at all. Some people include dairy in their carnivore diet, others don't. All these approaches would technically be carnivore, but certain practices, like dairy, could be a downside for some people, but not for others. So carnivore is not a one-size-fits-all. I would say the most simple form of carnivore, the lion diet, probably has the least potential downsides. No one in the world, except those who have suffered from a particular strain of Lyme disease, is allergic to beef. And beef contains all the nutrients we humans need. But the lion diet could have the downside of being too difficult, too extreme. I don't call it extreme, but difficult for some people to stay committed to it. It can be hard, though I have found it gets easier over time. Now, I said it was a bit simplistic, tongue-in-cheek, for me to say that carnivore has no downsides, because there is no perfect carnivore diet. But I said it has no downsides because it is true for me. All of what may have been considered downsides have actually led to upsides, improvements. Here's an example. Carnivore makes it very hard to eat out, at least if you are strict with it. In my job as a rabbi, I used to eat out a lot. I meet with people, get to know them, go to events. The point was not really the food. It was the connection. But now I don't go out to eat. But instead, we might go for a walk near my temple. We might meet at a coffee house. We might just sit in my office. It's actually much more intimate, and I get to know people better. Not to mention it's cheaper and actually more enjoyable not to have to sit in a noisy restaurant. That's an upside. Another potential downside I worried about, I always have had a sweet tooth. I love desserts. I thought when I started the carnivore diet, I'd miss them so much. It would be such a struggle. Turns out I don't. Meat just tastes better. In fact, I learned something from the bear, Owsley Stanley. When you're a carnivore, sweets are seldom sought. You don't crave them. Every potential downside has really become an upside. Another example. Many carnivores worry about feeling isolated. We eat differently than 99.9% of people in the world. Will we be able to enjoy a meal with anyone? Food is such a big part of social life. But if I hadn't become a carnivore, I wouldn't have discovered the carnivore community, which is incredible. People are generous, kind, interesting, smart. And social media makes it so much easier to connect with people. We have live streams, emails, even in-person meetups. Carnivore opens up a potential for new relationships and community. And of course, carnivore has its limitations. But I would choose the limitations of the carnivore diet over the limitations imposed by the standard American diet any day. One way to think about this choice is through the lens of time preference. This is a concept in economics. People with high time preference value the near term, the here and the now. They are short-term thinkers. They love the quote, "Eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we may die." With high time preference, we'd rather spend any money we have right now rather than save and invest it. That's high time preference. Low time preference people put less value on the near term and more on the long term. They are planners, savers, long-term thinkers. There's a Jewish legend about a man named Honi. He is walking along the road and he sees an old man planting a tree. Man must be about 70. He says to the man, "I don't mean to be rude, but why are you planting a tree? This tree will take a long time to grow, and by the time it has gotten bigger and noticeable, you will not be alive." The old man replied, My grandparents planted trees for me. Those trees were here when I came into the world. So I am planting these trees for my grandchildren." That's low time preference thinking. And I think of carnivore as a low time preference way of life. We may forego short-term pleasures like ice cream and cake so that we can be healthy and content and fit as we age. And the truth is, we are not really foregoing much. Meat is so good and satisfying that we don't lose anything. As I said, for me, there are no downsides. We can apply this low time preference idea to all of life. Choose things that bring us happiness in the long run. And carnivore sets that up for us. It is an anchor habit. It anchors the rest, the totality of our lives. There is only upside.